Greetings and salutations to you people of the interwebs. So IDW have just rebooted the Transformers comic book continuity, and so I figured this would probably be a perfect opportunity to let's start talking comic books. So this is the IDW issue 1. We're going to do somewhat a review, a discussion. We're going to talk about it. We're going to try not to get into too many spoilers. There's going to be talk about all the stuff that's going on in the issue, but we're not going to talk about what the thing at the end, the enticing incident at the end, which is kind of the thing that is going to kick off the continuity. So, as you may or may not know, I've been as a Transformers fan, my main stuff coming into me as a kid was stuff coming into me as a kid. That doesn't sound awkward at all. My main source of Transformers as a child was the comic book. The Marvel comic book was my G1. It was more so than the cartoons. I was always more of a comic book fan. We got it coming through the UK comic, Marvel UK comic, and that is pretty much where my love for Transformers was ignited. And I do enjoy getting on with the comic books ever since. I kind of started getting into Dreamwave just before it collapsed, and IDW, I started kind of drifted away from it for a bit because it didn't quite grab me the way that it wanted to, and also a period in my life that was very messy, so I kind of didn't really keep up with the comic books until I got Last Stand of the Records, which was really got me back into thinking about Transformers more, and then kind of religiously get hold of the comic book after the jumping on point that was the death of Optimus Prime and the kind of the RID, Robots in Disguise, and the More Than Meets the Eye comic books. After that, that was kind of what really got me going for the IDW continuity. So that ended, and they did a fantastic job of finishing it off, in my opinion. And so now you can't let sleeping dogs lie. You can't let franchises go to waste. So now it's been rebooted. Issue 1, Transformers. A bold new era. I'll just focus that. It's called, this issue, the title is The World in Your Eyes Part 1. And it's written by Brian Ruckley. There's art by Angel Hernandez and Cachet Whitman. I hope I've pronounced those correctly. So this is the start. A new start, a new beginning. I didn't know I was ready to jump into a new continuity yet. And to be honest with you, it's a bold new era. It starts off rather a dull affair, I'm afraid to say. So the main storyline in this is Bumblebee and a brand new Transformer. It is not just brand new to us the readers, but brand new Transformer, very naive, called Rubble, not to be confused with Rumble, making their way to Rubble's next assignment. He's basically trying to get a grasp of the world before goes through all the process of choosing alt modes and all that type of stuff. So that's kind of quite a nice addition to the Transformers mythos, that they might actually get to choose what they're going to do rather than being assigned it. So that's again, that's really kind of separating itself from the old IDW community, where what form you were assigned to kind of dictated how you went through life, and that was kind of the main crux of how the Civil War was started between the Autobots and Decepticons. So we have that, and then we also have kind of a meeting between is he called Optimus Prime yet, or is he just Orion Pax? And let's see. Yeah, so it's Orion and Megatron have a meeting, and Megatron is going to be giving out some speeches, and some of these in the past have riled up the populace to created riots, and Prime's kind of just asking him just to calm it down a little bit, and or at least let him know how much security he needs to put on to these kind of events. Yeah, so it's kind of that weird thing that if you go on any kind of writing course, or some kind of creative storytelling course, they'll tell you that probably one of the worst places you can start a story is at the beginning. It's like never, always start in the middle and end in the middle. That's where you want to go. You always get told beginning, middle and end. But no, start in the middle, end in the middle. Have enough for your audiences to go, oh, I'm intrigued at what happened in the past. There must be enough past to be fleshed out, and there must be enough future to then go, oh, well, what happens next? Always the old IDW community, obviously, it started after the war had been going on. Transformers always, in the midst of the war, it started off and it ended where they just had, the war had been finished for a while. There was this big battle with Unicron at the end, and then the world continued. The stuff was still going on, stuff was in place, old alliances had been shattered, new alliances were forming, but there was enough to go, you know what, it's actually quite intriguing what happens next. So it ended, there was several story arcs at the beginning, that had a beginning, middle and end, but the actual world that they lived in was still in the middle either way. It's not like this is the end. Whereas this feels like, yeah, the world has, Cybertron has existed for a while, but yeah, I would have liked something a bit more enticing for a first issue. There's enough there to go, I'm definitely going to buy more of it, but there's not enough. I think it just needs a little bit more action for a number one. Yeah, art-wise, well, let's carry on with the talk about the content. So Bumblebee and Rubble are travelling to this place, and obviously, this bold new era in the salutations. See Cybertron like we've never seen it before. They're just travelling through wilderness. They're travelling through a wilderness. I mean, and that, obviously that looks nice, but that's nothing we could have seen on a war-torn Cybertron anyway. It's just wilderness. I wanted, to me, the opportunity of starting it again, to start have this pre-war Cybertron, is that we can explore more of the culture of the brilliance of Cybertron society, of see these filled cities teeming with Transformer life forms, and see what does get lost when the war happens, and see what we want to see, these cultures and stuff like that we've never really explored before, and see these big neon city lights and all that type of stuff. That's kind of what, and we just get into the wilderness. They meet a life form out in the wilderness. Is it an indigenous life form to Cybertronian? No, it's some alien scavenger. We're in the wilderness. We're seeing Cybertron like we've never seen it before, and we meet just some random weird squid with monkeys attached to it. I mean, that's quite interesting, but still, could have had some kind of Cybertronian life form. Unless, this, obviously it's issue 1, this might be seeding for things that come later on, but Yeah, a squid in a ball with monkeys attached to it from another planet is what they meet in the Cybertronian wilderness. Wouldn't it not better if it was some kind of Cybertronian, mythical Cybertronian life form that becomes extinct during the course of the war? That, to me, would be better. The art. So, like I say, we have Angel Hernandez, who's doing all the stuff with Bumblebee and Rubble and Windblade as well. And it's very... It's like there's lots of rulers going on here. You know what I mean? There's this. It seems very geometric, which just doesn't. And it doesn't. Oh, I don't know. It's just a bit too geometric for me. I can see where they're going with, and there's bits where Windblade lands looks very dynamic. I really quite like that, but as a whole, yeah, I'm not sure if I like how many ruler lines there are in it. Whereas that's Cachet, again, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Whitman does more traditional Transformer shapes, but it's very like, hey, you know those new toys that are out? I need you to make it look just like the toys. Really? Just like the toys? Yeah, just like the toys. Put on the ports. And also, why don't you even try and put in... Let me make that. Why don't you even try and put in some of the screw holes as well? And that just makes it seem like the less like comic book characters and more, you know, more like, hey, these are just the toys moving about. Yeah, but other than that, I really quite like how they've done Megatron's facial expressions and stuff like that. You know, so they're in there, you know, Optimus Prime or Orion Pax looks really good. But the fact it's just that extra detail of putting the weapon ports and the screw holes in is just kind of, it just weirds me out a little bit. I mean, the other stuff where they're showing, you know, generic Transformers writing, that looks fine, that looks great, but it's just that extra detail of putting those screw holes in like that. So Bumblebee seems like Bumblebee, Megatron seems like Megatron, pre-jaded or quite jaded Megatron, but not actually quite ready to take that step to become violence that we know is going to come eventually. Ironhide feels like Ironhide. There's talk about Prowling there. Rubble seems like a naive, quite cool character that we'll see the world through for the first time, because, you know, he's naive, doesn't really know what's going on, so he's kind of the reader's conduit to that world. And then there's Windblade, who now, trigger warning, I am not now going to go into a big rant about, oh my god, Hasbro trying to shove Windblade down our throats, that, you know, some SJWs has ruined Transformers. No, not at all. My complaint would be the opposite way, is Windblade's been put in this comic, but whereas the other characters feel like if not the characters that they usually are, at least the little seed of where that character starts. Whereas this kind of naive robot of the people that Margaret Scott so excellently portrayed in the IDW Transformers, she doesn't. This Windblade just doesn't feel anything like. She looks almost identical, but doesn't feel like the same character. It's kind of, well, we need this role in the comic book, we're gonna use Windblade, but it's kind of, when you put a new character into a comic book, keep them the same character. keep them consistent. And I don't think the problem is with Windblade is that they've done an excellent job of writing her in the original, or the first IDW Transformers continuity, that when they just go off that path and go, well, we'll just make Bumblebee's best friend here Windblade, but she's a bit more world weary, a bit more quick to action than you know, the kind of naive but wise Windblade of the first continuity. It's a different character, but we'll see how it goes on. It's not, like I say, it's a bit of a snooze fest, I'm afraid. It's not, it doesn't feel like a bold new era. It's kind of we've thrown all that into dust, that old continuity, for this. There's a bit at the moment, but there are some kernels that could grow into big things. Like, say, if a lot of this, the foreshadowing and all that type of stuff pays off, maybe in X amount of issues, it might pay off, and it might be like going, oh yeah, this is brilliant. But at the moment, it kind of feels like, well, we started this pre-war, we're doing this kind of origin arc of the Transformers. Because there isn't other issues going on, this isn't like a little mini-series, a prequel mini-series. We're like, well, what, is it going to take about 5 or so years of this comic book to actually get to the good stuff, or what? You know, the beauty of starting something in the middle is that you can have flashbacks. You can have an entire mini-series of flashbacks. You can have flashback like Optimus Prime did, interweave the flashbacks with the stuff that's going on in the present. If you start at all the beginning, you've only got to go forward, and you've only got to go forward at the pace you're setting your comic books out at. And I think they're going to hit a real problem with that. Who knows? It's issue 1. It's a part 1 of I presume, a 2-part opener. So we'll see what happens after that, and hopefully I'll try and have a discussion, review, rant about issue 2 when that comes out, and we'll keep doing that for as long as they make them, hopefully. But you know, like I say, making videos on YouTube, try not to promise anything. Under promise, over deliver. Until then, I think we deserve a fist bump, don't we? Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. Here comes... No, we'll do this one. The bump. Let's bump fists. Fisto! Fisto!